Hello and welcome back to Tank and AFV News. My name's Tom. I'm your host. I'm going to do a little editorial here. This is sort of a funny one. It's called Why I Don't Hate World of Tanks. I may be wondering why I would pick a title like that. Well, way back in the early days of 2012, I played the game a little bit. I'm not a big computer gamer. And this is in the beta period. And I enjoyed it a little bit, got tired of it, and then just decided to sort of get up on my high horse. And this is back when I had a blog that was just called Tank and AFV News Blog. It was a blogspot thing. And did an article called Why I Hate World of Tanks. And it was basically just about the game itself and the gameplay aspects. And just concerns that, sort of at that point, looking at it saying, okay, this is how most people are learning about the topic. And what they're learning has nothing to do with the context of where these vehicles are fought or how. It's just a bunch of random tanks running around, a lot of which aren't even, necessarily ones that existed. I mean, things that, or if they did exist, they were prototypes or sketches on napkins and whatnot. So, that would have probably went into obscurity. And then the Armor Journal, now the magazine, not Armor, which is the official journal of the Armor branch, but the Armor Journal, which is, I think on issue number 6 now. Started a few years back by a guy named Alex, and he had contacted me when he was doing the first issue. At that point, it was strictly a digital-only publication, and I said, hey, can we use your article on Why I Hate World of Tanks? I'm like, well, okay. I mean, I really don't hate World of Tanks at that point. But that was in the first issue. And it's probably, I think it's, the only thing of mine that's gone into a magazine, and it's probably the worst thing that they've published. Because I'm not really sure how much value it has other than just sort of venting. Because all the rest of the stuff they've published has been great, and I strongly recommend checking it out. They've done some really interesting articles over the past few issues, and written by some pretty credible, knowledgeable people too. So I can say that, of all the contributors, I probably contributed the worst thing. And, I've definitely softened my view, not because I care about the game at all. I don't. I really stopped playing it after the beta and all my stuff was erased. And I just didn't feel like going through that grind again. And I was that irritating guy that, I think my best vehicle is a hull. I like to sit, I'm a lazy gamer. I just sat back there being artillery and just taking pot shots and everything. I don't hate the game. And partly because I don't hate Wargaming, the company that makes it, because they do some other interesting stuff. I mean, first and foremost, they've got Nick Moran, the Chieftain, who, if you haven't checked out his videos, you really should. I'm assuming if you found me, you've probably already seen his stuff. And, his whole Inside the Hatch or Under the Hatch series of videos and articles are really good. I mean, nobody else is going around and getting inside these vehicles and filming it, the way he does. And they're really a lot of good information there. And then, just as I've gone out to events, different museums, different shows, it seems like anything that's got related to tanks at all, Wargaming's there. They've got a booth, they're promoting it. I'm assuming that relationship is beneficial both for the company and for these institutions and organizations that are putting on these events. So, it's certainly hard to be too critical, when of Wargaming when they're helping these institutions and putting out material that actually does have some merit in terms of helping people understand the history behind these vehicles. That they're all racing around in digital versions in the game. And of course, just the number of people that play the game, it gets people interested in the topic. When I was a kid, you didn't really have that. I mean, I think the only video game even closely related to tanks at all was, Battlezone for Atari 2600, which wasn't much of a game, as you can imagine. We had board games. I remember going on vacation and touring the Pat Museum at Fort Knox, back the old one, and the gift shop getting a copy of Panzerblitz, the old Avalon Hill game, which, sort of a revelation for me. I took that home, I was probably like junior high age, and just absorbed it. I mean, it's probably enjoyed more like the liner notes and the game designer notes and history than the actual game. I was that guy sitting around playing with the counters, arranging all the little units and building divisions and whatnot. And then got into other games. I mean, there was Panzer Leader and Arab-Israeli Wars, and then there was the whole Assault series from, was that Game Designers Workshop, I think. So all these games that were about armor, sort of on the tactical and operational level. And so, the perfect of those games are not perfect. They've got some errors and flaws in them, but they kind of help help a person, plays them to understand, unit structure and how these vehicles fit into the larger picture. It's not just, leaf through a book and be like, oh, this tank had this much armor, this much of a gun. Well, that doesn't tell you a whole lot about how it was actually used or what purpose it served. So, that's sort of what I grew up with. And the thing is, though, like, what percentage of people were actually into that kind of stuff back in the 80s? Not that many. Millions and millions and millions of people are playing World of Tanks. And, even if a small percentage of them goes on and delves more seriously into the topic and starts reading books or whatever, that's still a big potential increase over the body of people that would have been interested in that topic without these video games that are out there. So, no, I don't hate World of Tanks. Just thought that, if you run across that article in the old magazine or online, it's still out there. It's what it is. But I do respect the work that, like I said, particularly with Nick Moran. He's helped me with a couple things, and so I can say thanks to him and to Wargaming, and for everybody out there that enjoys the game. Have fun with it. It looks great. It's a fun game. It's just I got bored with it. All right, see you next time.